The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Planted with Sara Pine. I'm Sara Pine, your host, and today we have Loriel Alegrete here, who is the CEO and co-founder at 40 Tons, a Black, woman-owned premium cannabis clothing and accessories brand from Los Angeles, California. Loriel has an amazing story. Normally, when I talk about first experiences with cannabis, we talk about sneaking out, getting high, having the giggles. This is a very different story, and it's a story that we need to have more conversations about because cannabis is another opportunity for us to look at how we have been doing things wrong policy-wise as a society for decades and beyond. And Loriel, I just want to welcome you for being here today, to taking the time to talk with me and to give our viewers, or I should say our listeners, because they're not going to see us, but they definitely will hear us, our listeners a chance to really understand the impact and what's being done now, the work that's starting to rectify a lot of this. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Sara. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on and allowing me to share my story with your audience. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And starting on that, what was your first impactful experience around cannabis?
Oh, wow. Just to briefly take you back, I was 13 years old. My older brother was 16 years old, and he got into trouble. And they, as a juvenile, and they arrested him and they held him until he turned 18 years old in order to trial him as an adult. Because me and my siblings were raised by a single grandmother, there wasn't any extra money. There wasn't a lawyer in the family to go to get any advice or any help. So we were forced to take whatever the system was giving us, and so this justice system, and I use that very loosely, right, right, was, trying my brother as an adult at 18 years old, but never trying him in the juvenile system. So that was my real first taste of this unjust justice system, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and when we were speaking briefly before we started recording today, one of the things we were discussing was that injustice where, we don't talk enough about the fact that when, kids get into stuff, I know for sure I was precocious. And, there's a huge difference. We see the difference in how people are treated when white children go to rehab because they're just confused and they just need a little extra help, and black and brown children go to prison.
Right, exactly. Historically, it's been black and brown children and adults that have been given the messed up end of the stick, so to speak. So you learn to adapt when you really shouldn't have to. It should be fair across the board, and it isn't, But just speaking about it, hopefully this sheds some light on, some policies and laws that should come into effect to kind of help those communities. So,
But tell us more about 40 Tons, how it came to be, and what you're doing.
Yeah. So 40 Tons is probably, 20 years in the making. I didn't realize it then, as a 13-year-old kid, experiencing what I did with my older brother, and subsequently not once, not twice, but 3 times when my husband went away to prison for nonviolent cannabis charges. And then lastly, when my good friend of over 20-something years went to jail and subsequently got a life sentence without the possibility of parole for nonviolent cannabis charges. It was me in the courtroom. I had 2 children at the time, married. My husband, Anthony, and Corvain, we're all friends of 20-something years. And my husband, Anthony, gets sentenced. They're all in the same indictment, nothing different, except their skin color. And my husband gets sentenced to a lighter sentence. And my friend Corvain, he gets sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. I knew right then and there was this aha moment. It was unjust, but you don't have the resources, you don't have the money to fight, so you just have to, again, take that shit in of the stick, right?
Right.
And that was just a slap in the face that I had to do something. And so hence 40 tons is the real birth and inception of it. And we haven't been on paper, so to speak, or formed company for a long time, but it was always in the making, right? So it's 20-something years in the making that 40 tons has been in my forefront, right? Mm-hmm. So Corvain was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for having 40 tons of cannabis.
Wow. So was that collectively amongst everybody who was indicted that he got blamed for the whole 40 tons, or was there more to it?
Yeah. So there were other people in the indictment, obviously. Corvain was the last one, and they put everybody's amount of cannabis onto Corvain. So he got charged with the 40 tons.
Wow.
And, he's done 9 years in prison, and we speak with him and letters and trying to support him and amplify the message of this, of his message and the fact that he got charged with this terrible crime for nonviolent cannabis related charge, which is now today is legal, right? But back then, 10 years ago, it was illegal. But the punishment doesn't fit the crime, So my husband and I, we would, stay up wee hours of the morning, amplifying his message on all sorts of social media platforms. Clubhouse was very instrumental in that, change.org, LPP, which is Last Prisoner Project, Marijuana Matters, which I sit on the advisory board for. We all kind of just collectively got together, amplify his message, and ultimately got it before former President Donald Trump so that he could give Corvain, grant him that clemency. So it was a lot of hard work and a lot of people behind the scenes. And it wasn't just one person. It was 1 + 1 + 1 = 100,
Right. It takes more than just one person to make something like that happen.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. And so Corvain, he's out now?
Yes. So January is it was a couple of days before Trump was exiting the presidency, and then he granted him presidential clemency, even amidst all the things that were going on. They were storming the White House. They were putting their feet up on the Oval Desk. I mean, it was just total chaos. And, former President Donald Trump, no matter how people feel about him, right, he gave an only son back to his father and mother. He returned an only son to his 2 daughters. Right. So that in itself is an amazing thing to have the power to do. Corvain was a perfect candidate for that clemency, and we're just really grateful and thankful. And actually, Anthony was able to go and pick Corvain up from Paulus, Louisiana, when we got the call that he definitely was going to be released. Oh. So that was amazing. We were up all night. I literally drove him to LAX the wee hours of the morning to catch a red eye, to be able to go and pick up our friend Corvain and meet him at the airport with the attorneys and all the other people. So it was just an amazing experience that I don't think in this lifetime I'll probably ever experience. Are you either, Sarah?
Right. Well,
probably experience.
I sure hope not. That had to be something to be able to wrap your arms around your friend again after all that time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just, we cried, we embraced. it was a lot of media around us, but it almost was like it didn't even matter. Like it was all, it was just him and I. And when we finally wrapped arms around each other of like, you know why we did this, you know why we're here, let's turn this thing around and make this negative into a positive, and hence 40 tons, the birth of 40 tons. And we're super busy and grateful for all the opportunities, and we've got a lot of things in the pipeline, and it's super exciting.
Yeah. Well, and 40 tons does a lot of different things. So for our listeners who may not be familiar, will you let them know all the wonderful things that you do?
Yes, it's so exciting. I represent the wives and the girlfriends and the mothers and the sisters that are left behind when your loved ones have to go away and do this ungodly amount of time for nonviolent cannabis charges, right? So I wanted to be able to give back to those Loriels that are, behind me, right?
Right.
So in that, we actually, most of the proceeds from any item that's purchased on our website is given right back to that prisoner. They may need eyeglasses, which we just paid Parker Coleman a pair of eyeglasses, because the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they do not deem eyeglasses a necessity, right?
Wow.
Right, just these small things, right? So, buying eyeglasses or putting monies on the prisoner's commissary so that they can buy something to eat or send a birthday card to their child, So we've got programs like that set in play. We just did our cannabis hiring event in the city of Hawthorne, which went great. It was just amazing amount of people that came out, all these companies that came out that were hiring, from bud tenders all the way to operations managers and directors and everyone in between who wanted to get back into the legal cannabis space, and just opening up that pathway for them. So we did that. We've got MJ BizCom, which is coming up next week in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is a huge event, and we'll have a booth there. Super excited about that. The month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness. So we've got some great products that'll be available on our website, and we're definitely going to be giving out all of your viewers and listeners a promo code that they can get a percentage off for anything that they'd like to purchase and support the brand, and just know that those monies are going right back to that prisoner who's needing extra support while they're away. So we're doing a lot of great things. And I'm super excited about everything and what the future holds. We also have flower coming out in a few dispensaries here in California, so look out for that. And I mean, very soon, Sarah. Like literally, we go to distribution tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations! That's awesome.
Yeah, we're so excited. We go to distro tomorrow. We fly out. The whole team flies out to San Francisco tomorrow, and we'll be in stores in probably the next week or two. Like, it's that quick.
Oh, so, wow. Yeah. That's wonderful. And so a portion of those proceeds are going to be going to support the projects for helping prisoners as well.
Yes, exactly. Because I know firsthand how it is to juggle children and needing their necessities, and then you have your husband or your brother who is needing to have, a piece of paper and a pencil to write you a letter, right?
That's going to be so hard.
And a stamp, right? Because that's not free, So just balancing that, I know firsthand, do you pay this light bill to keep the lights on, or do you send money to the commissary so that they can write you? It's real struggles that I experience, and I'm doing this to help the next Loriel that's behind me, right?
Yeah.
And also to do this for the next Corvain that's behind him as well, right? This quick buck, this fast money, this illegal cannabis space is not where you want to be, because they will catch up to you. It will all catch up to you. and you may be looking at life, if not a terrible sentence of 50, 60 years, which is some of our people that we're still advocating for that are sentenced to, So
yeah, and then it's really, I mean, it's a weird thing. I mean, when I first started working in cannabis, we were still back in the 215 days, and so part of my basic training was what to do in case we're raided. And that was, and the one thing that, we were told was, just, keep everyone calm, keep quiet. The person that they're after isn't you, it's the owner of the dispensary. But it was like such a wild way to have to live. And then you think about the fact that we are now legalizing in how many states now, and we still have people that are fighting to get their lives back.
Yeah, really, it's true. We've come so far, but we still have so much more to go. Right?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to a day where we don't have to raise money to help with that, but what we do is we're able to raise money to just continue to educate people and enrich and create sustainable abundance for families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I throughout this whole process, I have been just hopeful that things will continue to change for the better, and hopeful that legislation and lawmakers will listen to me, listen to others in front of me, behind me, next to me, and make some real change, for our future.
Yeah, for sure. And in the midst of all of this, I read in your bio that you're going back to school too.
Yes, I am, Sarah. I'm just not stopping. I can't stop, right? Like my eyes are wide open. So I am actually I went back to school to get my RN degree.
Oh, right on.
So yeah, because I'm a firm believer in the plant and cannabis and all its healing properties. And, from the newborn babies who, have issues to the 80-year-old man that's having issues, and how cannabis can really help, ease the pain of some of their ailments. And so I want to be able to educate those people on the use of cannabis. So, and going back to school to get my RN degree, and it is not easy. It takes all of me to continue. I literally have my anatomy class right after our interview. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's not, nursing school is not easy. My mom, well, I come from a family of nurses, but my mom went back to school.
Oh.
Yeah. When I graduated from high school, my mom graduated from college with her BSN. And she ended up...
she got a recipe.
Yeah, and now she retired recently, but she was hematology oncology is what she was doing, and she was doing research, and she ended up doing the clinical trials for the chemo that I took later on when I went through cancer in my late 30s.
Wow.
But I remember her studying, and she was like, this is not easy. People don't realize how hard it is to be a nurse. So I congratulate you with, you should bottle your energy. You could be a millionaire.
Oh my gosh, yes. We have 3 children now. 40 tons is taking off, and in school. So yeah, you're right. It takes a lot of energy to keep it all going. But Sarah, I am absolutely determined to succeed at all of them.
Well, I don't know if there's a saying about this, but there should be. You can't stop a determined, inspired woman.
Go. I love it. Yes.
I'm sure there is some like really great snappy saying that's better than what I just said, but
for sure there is. For sure.
Well, on your website, what are some of the items that people can can look at to purchase? Because I saw that you have a background in fashion too.
Yes, I went to a FITM and got my degree there and sort of just shifted lanes to the nursing field. But some of our items are, our streetwear, our jackets and T-shirts and hoodies and dad hats. And, that's a small way for someone to just support our cause and know that, some of those proceeds are going to go to helping that prisoner who needs to make a phone call to his kid's birthday, on their kid's birthday, or send a letter to their grandma who hasn't heard from them in quite some time, right?
Right.
So that's anyone's way of just giving back to this cause, So you can go on our website and check some things out and hopefully purchase and know that your purchase is going to support that.
And can people, because I know a lot of people love doing that, but sometimes people just want to straight up give cash in a donation. Is that possible too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's possible. You can send an email to us. I believe it's info@40tons.co. You can always send an email to that email address, and someone will definitely respond. We also have Corvain's reentry portion, which you can find him on the GoFundMe if you'd like to support his reentry efforts. He does a lot of interviews and a lot of good public works to where, it takes money just to keep that going as well, so you can support their GoFundMe. So we're open for donations, and really soon we will definitely have our 40 Tons nonprofit organization, coming very soon, where we will be a 501c3.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
What have been some of your favorite partners to work with on this?
Oh, gosh. I would say, there's a bunch of them. I would say people who believed in our cause and followed us before we got the momentum that we have now. Marijuana Matters DC is huge. Lemonade, Antioch, Patty, she's amazing there. And prior to those women, Brittany K. Barnett, who's part of the Buried Alive project, we would have umpteen meetings and Zoom meetings with her and phone calls of where we can get positioned because she believed in our cause so much. And this was all while Corvain was still in prison, and Corvain's lawyer, the clemency attorney, Patrick Magaro, he stood by Corvain for many, many years and did not get paid, refused to take payment,
wow.
Just because he believed that Corvain's innocence and what 40 Tons stood for and where we were going to be aligned in this cannabis industry. So it's people like that truly believed in us and has given us an opportunity and a chance to sit at this table, this cannabis table, and really let us be heard, so we are super excited. Chiefing, which is a cannabis brand out of Oakland, they have been huge supporters of us as well. So we're grateful for those opportunities. So, yeah.
Awesome. And then going into cannabis brands and being that you are going to be dropping your brand very soon, what are you doing the growing yourself or somebody growing for you?
No, someone is growing for us. Someone is growing for us, and we'll just do a licensing deal, right? So that would help us get into cannabis stores more quicker. So that's where we're at with that. And then stay tuned for our actual 40 Tons DNA strain that's coming very, very soon, too. That's still being grown. Yeah, the
That's
mother is still being
exciting.
grown.
Well,
Yeah, so that's exciting.
have you tried it?
That's no, because the mom is okay. It's like a whole other scene because the mother is very sensitive, right? So you have to get her strong and ready to produce.
Right.
And so she's being grown right now out of Humboldt County. And so actually, Anthony just went to go check on her, and so she's doing good. And so we should probably be able to see yielding flower from her in the new year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's gonna be
Yeah.
so exciting. So is that your favorite
Yes.
flower out of everything in the line so far? Just especially because
Yes, that is. Yes, that is. That is. It is. And we will have an edible coming in the interim too. So,
oh, that's cool.
um, yeah.
Can
So we're
you s-
excited about that.
can you give us any hints about that, or is that still under wraps?
It's still a little under wraps, but just know that I appreciate the edible. So it's going to be something to knock your socks off, but you still will be able to function because I'm a mom and a student and running a business, and so you still have to be able to function. But it's going to get you smooth sailing. So just stay tuned for that fire. It's coming.
Well, if you can testify to that for the flower or for the edible,
Uh-huh.
you know everybody's going to be getting behind that because you're already doing it all.
Yes, yes, and they're wondering how am I doing this? Well, hi, I'm testing it right now. It's amazing, you know. So yeah, just stay tuned for that.
That's so
Mhm.
exciting. Do you have
Mhm.
any dispensaries in particular that you'd be able to tell us about that people will be able to pick up the product to be able to support you? And also, I'm sure people are very curious about trying out the flower, or is that something that's to be announced?
Um, so it will be in three dispensaries. One I could definitely speak about. That's going to be Lemonade Antioch is where you'll be able to get the flower in the next week or two.
Awesome.
Right. And then there's two other distributions. We're LA based, so that'll be locally in LA. The stores are still to be determined,
Mhm.
but if you're in that Bay Area, Antioch, Oakland, San Fran, you'll be able to find it there.
Awesome.
Um, yes.
Oh, that's exciting. What do
hmm
you? I know you have so many things going on. You already have things slated for the future, but like when you really look at the big picture, what do you want to see happen?
Oh my gosh, Sarah, that's a great question. I want to see a diversity and equality in the cannabis space. I'd like to see people that look like me owning dispensaries, owning distribution centers, owning cultivation farms, owning manufacturing sites. Um, I'd like to be able to be given a fair chance in this cannabis industry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
I can totally see where you're going to be a big part of helping make that happen.
Yeah, we have so much work to do. There's over 40,000 prisoners currently sitting in jail for nonviolent cannabis charges, and 40 Tons is here to amplify that message and to spread the awareness and just make people just let them know what's going on in their backyard.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I had Jesse Horton on from Loud a few episodes ago, and he was also one of the founders of the Minority Cannabis Business Association. And when we were,
Mm,
he was wonderful, and he's just like he's got, not only does he have amazing flowers, but he's like you has done a lot of amazing work to try to change what we're seeing in cannabis. And one of the questions I asked him was because, and I approached it as because I'm a mixed race person, and
mhm.
there are many. It's like when I was growing up, the word minority, we always thought of like black and brown folks as the minority. But
Yeah.
now that's not necessarily the case. So I was asking him about the name, and he's like, well, in cannabis, we still are. And I'm like, excellent point. Yes. We have a lot of work to do, but it's an interesting thing when you start to see like how many more people there are, especially in the United States, that are black, brown, mixed race, which, will always be counted as black or brown because we
Yeah.
have these very interesting ways of looking at people. But as we grow, I'm really hoping that, and it's something that even prior to cannabis, I worked in civil rights, that we're able to let people know that by creating sustainability and abundance for people who have not had these opportunities because of constructs, that it doesn't mean that it's taking away from other people. For somebody else to have something doesn't mean that other people will suffer.
Right. Exactly.
There's enough for all of us.
Yeah.
And maybe some people are taking more than they should.
I think you might be onto something. I think so.
I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, there's people who want to hoard everything. I get it. But I'm here to say, excuse me, I'm pulling my chair up to the table. Pardon me, coming in. So just be ready.
I love that. I love what you're doing. It's so very, very important, and we need all hands on deck to make this happen. In addition to supporting 40 Tons, what can people do to help support this movement and to really help create change and justice for people who are languishing in places where they really should not be?
Yeah, I think, if you don't have the excess funds to go on our website and purchase anything or send a donation, via GoFundMe or via our website, if you can just educate yourself, there's change.org, sign petitions, be aware of what's going on in your own backyard, being in the know, understanding what's happening and how legislation is changing and what you can do, or maybe there's people out there who have backgrounds in videography or photography, and they might want to do a photo shoot with the 40 Tons team, or they might be able to create some content. We're always open for that. We always look and welcome collaborations with other cannabis brands. We are a social impact brand, and so it is definitely it would behoove that business owner or that person to align themselves with us, just so that we can be stronger in numbers. So
that's awesome. Yeah, because I know like some people may not be able to give money, but they can give their time and effort, and some people are going to want to do both.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody can donate anything at any given time, and I don't want people to feel like, oh, if I can't buy a hoodie for $50 because I just don't have it. Hey, I understand. Hey, I have been there, right? But if I have a camera and I can come and take some photos and send them your way, why not?
Yeah.
That's my way of helping, right?
Right.
So I just want people to be aware of that as well.
And when we're looking at, too, because I'm thinking like, social justice, it comes from making sure people aren't in jail for things that people are making money off of now. And actually, even before that, this shouldn't have been happening. But now when we're looking at the level playing field, what are some things that you see around equity that you would like to see more of or see changed? I know I'm throwing these questions at you, and I'm like, Loriel, I'm going to put you on the spot. But if there's like, and know that if there are certain things that you're kind of like, well, I understand too. But what would you say to people who, like, what your views are on that, and for people who may not understand what's the importance of social equity programs, what would you share with them around that?
Okay, so like, I'm not like policy guy and wanting to march on the steps of the Capitol and with signs and things like that. But I would like to see change on a federal level. You know, I know there's a lot of work that has to be done, but that's where I would like to see things changed. And in addition to that, licenses given out to true social equity brands that have a platform and a proven stance on the cannabis industry, right? So like when sometimes these licenses are given out and there's no guidance, right? Like, so you're given this license, John Smith, and John Smith has he doesn't know what to do with it, right? So then this license is wasted. But because John Smith is of Black and brown descent or whatever, he got it. But I just feel like the education needs to be there before the license can be there. So there's a lot of other steps that have to be taken in order for that license to be given.
When you say that too, that reminds me that, you know, a lot of times when people don't know what to do with the licenses, that's an opportunity for somebody to take advantage of them too. Because we've seen a lot of equity operators that have actually gotten booted out of their own licenses and not had any say. And that's, as we start to see these little loopholes pop up, we need to close them.
Yes. So the education is definitely needed. You're right. You know, I've heard horror stories of people getting licenses, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how did that happen? You know, so that education is definitely needed for sure. So they don't get taken advantage of, and so they know what to do moving forward and how to have longevity in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, or if they decide that they want to get out, they're able to do it on their own terms and actually make a good profit off of it. Because almost everyone has an exit strategy these days.
Yes. Oh, God.
But
exactly.
I like what you were saying around, you know, you're not the kind of person who's, you know, going on like, you know, the policy person that's like on the steps of, you know, the Capitol or City Hall, because it really does illustrate that there are so many different styles of activism, and they're all really important, and they're all really impactful, and they resonate with different people in our communities, because not everybody is going to want to be on the steps, but they may want to take action, and they want to know subtle but effective ways to do it. And another subtle but effective way to support is to vote with your wallet and to actually support companies that are equity and Black and brown owned companies, to be able to help take part in that sustainability and abundance.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love that. I'm just really grateful to know activists like yourself that are doing this great work. And I feel it's unfortunate that it's because of the impact that it had on your life that it pushed you in this direction, but in the fact that somebody like you is inspired to do this work and is making it happen, and it's because of you've turned around a situation that must have been so heartbreaking and painful, and you've turned it into something so supportive and beautiful.
Yes, it was. And just to be completely candid, Sarah, like, I found myself just being a very, very private person and not wanting to share my story. Just thinking, hey, I'm alone in this boat and I've got to deal with this. But quickly realized, you know, I can do good. I can help, and I can turn this around and help the next person that's in my shoes.
Right.
You know?
Do you feel like people have, like, mothers and girlfriends and wives have felt a load lifted by being able to feel free to have the conversations now too?
Yeah. You know what? We did an interview not that long ago. I don't know if you want me to tell you the
Yeah.
station, but
Oh,
okay, so
whatever
we
you
did an
want.
interview. Yeah, it was Cannabis Talk 101 here in Los Angeles. And I told my story, and one of the hosts took me to the side, and she said, you know what, your story is amazing, and you've definitely inspired me to share my story. And then she proceeded to tell me her story and how things unfolded. She is white, and her then husband was Hispanic, and they were selling cannabis illegally, and what happened to him and what happened to her. And she says, you know, I buried this so far down, you know, that I didn't want to talk about it. But hearing you share your story, I feel compelled. Like, I want to share mine too. And I thought, oh my God, we just embraced. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I love it. I love it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's a huge part of people being able to heal too, to be able to have those conversations. Because even though you know that you weren't in the wrong, you've gone through so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, another thing too, when we're looking at, especially in California, with our illicit market and how we're starting to see busts again. And one of the biggest things, I for 3 years I was one of the co-chairs of the legalization task force for San Francisco. And yeah, back before when 64 was just a twinkle in our eye, if it was a twinkle. But you know,
Yes.
we had conversations about what we needed to do to start making sure people weren't going to be getting arrested and incarcerated. And we talked about, you know, if somebody is cultivating and they're not permitted, instead of fining and jailing and all this, why can't we start looking at ways for people accessible entry into the legal market? And we have done a really crap job of it. Because we're still seeing it. And the fact that, you know, one of the things that we talk about is, you know, why is this happening? And it's overtaxation. It's overtaxation. It's making it hard for, I know so many people who had businesses that sold to dispensaries back in the day that have had to not, they can't have a legal business because the bar to entry is so extraordinarily high. And that's also one of the reasons that we're having all these issues with people who are getting equity licenses and they're being taken advantage of because the bar is so high that they have no choice but to do business with people who end up screwing them over.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
So we haven't quite created, we have people working hard like you, getting people out of a jail and creating a more just environment, but our just environment doesn't exist yet. And that's, I think, the thing that when I talk to people now, and it's like, as citizens, we need to start really pressuring policymakers. It's their jobs on the line. They aren't dealing with a bunch of silly stoners. We're intelligent people who, you know, pay our taxes. We have jobs. We're, you know, productive. And damn it, we vote.
Yes.
So getting more people out of the cannabis closet and really letting their policymakers know that their jobs are on the line. Like, we have to start doing more to normalize it so that they can't do this weak approach and punish people because they want their dollars.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox.
I love it. We're starting here, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, and that's it. And really, it's like, I just feel like with all the hard work that you've done, people just need to hear about this. They need to hear about all the hard work of the activists so that they can stand behind you and support you and really amplify your voice so that we can get more things done. And you don't have to be a jack of all trades. do the things you enjoy.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's just it's something that I think, you know, people a lot of people are forgetting, because we are seeing legalization, and they're not understanding that people are still struggling and that this stuff is still happening, and it's got to stop.
Yeah, this is true.
So I just really, really, really want to thank you for putting yourself out there and doing this incredibly hard work and juggling all of the things that mean so much to you to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if people want to get a hold of you, if they want to follow you on social media or reach out, what are the best ways for them to do that?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Sarah. You're amazing. Thank you for the great compliments. I will keep up this good work. So ways that people can follow us or contact us on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, you can find us at 40 Tons Brands. Hit us up on social, follow us, kind of see where we're going and what is up next. And all the great work that we will continue to do. Or you can send us an email or check out our website at 40tons.co, and that's where you can find us online.
Awesome. Thank you. And for those of you who want to follow Planted on social media, we are Planted with Sara on Twitter and on Instagram, Planted with Sara Payan on Facebook, and our website is www.plantedwithsara.com. You can listen to us on TuneIn, Stitcher, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audible, Podchaser, and of course our home network, Radio Misfits Network. And if you like Planted, spread the love, share your favorite episodes, rate us, leave a comment. We want to hear back from you, because this is all about educating and engaging, and we want to make sure that our content is valuable to you, because I can talk and hear myself all day, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't mean anything to you. So stay tuned. Remember that Planted is twice a month, and it's a crazy world out there. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. Be kind to one another. That's how we get through all of this. And until next time, stay safe. Take care, everyone.